Personally, I think that this passage reads very difficult. It's hard to get through. There's a lot of repetition of the word gift, but in a way that always is shifting us between gift givers and gift receivers, and so it gets a little jumbled in my brain. So when that happens, when you have trouble understanding what you're reading, the most important thing is to shift your focus from the passage, which is confusing, to the line references that were given and the choices, more importantly, that were given, because the choices will be more understandable. First of all, they're shorter. Second of all, the words just tend to be easier to understand. So the QLC method is a process that we use to stay organized, especially when we have these double questions where we got to jump between different things. So let's see if we can make more sense of what we're reading by following this process and trusting this process. So the first thing we need to do is read and understand the question. The authors indicate that the people value gift giving because they feel it. So why do people value gift giving? And this is honestly something we can do. Why do people value gift giving? I would say this kind of qualifies as a dumb summary of sorts. It's a way of rephrasing the question into dumber terms that I'm more able to understand it when I maybe find the answer. But you don't need to do it. It just helps sometimes. The next part of the process, though, is the line reference part, right? We're going to go to these specific spots. We're not really going to read extra. We're going to stick to the lines. They should be enough. If we need extra, we can read more, but there's not a lot of reasons why we need to. So let's look at these lines. We're looking for the answer to that question. Why do people value gift giving? So line reference A, 10 to 13. Here. Many relish the opportunity to buy presents because gift giving offers a powerful means to build stronger bonds with one's closest peers. Well, that sounds good, right? Why do they value it? Because it's an opportunity to bond. So I don't know that that's the answer, but by reframing the question and focusing on the connotation of the word value, I think I have a much clearer sense of what I'm looking for, and this seems to match with that. But I'm not done. I'm going to go to all these other line references and see if something else works too. So 22 to 23. 22 to 23. People buy gifts that recipients would not choose to buy on their own, or at least not spend as much money to purchase. Okay, so that's weird because it stops in the middle of the sentence. But so why do they value it? Because people buy gifts that recipients would not choose to buy on their own. So you get something that people wouldn't normally buy. I don't know. That's a little bit of I'm like forcing it, I think. But that's okay. My job at this stage of the process is not to find one answer. It's to just kind of make sure we get rid of anything that's totally bad. And so the fact that I can kind of make this fit suggests maybe to keep it around. Let's keep going. 31 to 32. Research has found that people often struggle to take account of other people's perspectives. Well, that sounds negative, right? So that has nothing to do with why they might value it. That just seems like the opposite connotation of what we're looking for. D, 44 to 47. Although a link between gift price and feelings of appreciation might seem intuitive to gift givers, such an assumption may be unfounded. Again, this seems a little negative. Something is being unfounded. That means that it's a bad assumption. So I'm not really sure what the reason that they would value gift giving is. The value is that they can spend money. Yeah, I'm having trouble. See, there's a difference between making B fit and making D fit and failing. Like, you'll get good if you practice at knowing when you're kind of okay and when you're just doing way too much work and the choice just doesn't work. So I think there's a clear difference between B and D. B is not great, but I can make it fit. D, no way. So now we go to the choices, the last part of the QLC method. We say, okay, what matches with what I read? So people value gift giving because it functions as a form of self-expression. Well, no. They talked about bonding with other people or buying them things that they wouldn't normally buy. So this might be true, but it's not mentioned in any of the line references that I was drawn to. So it's not right. B is an inexpensive way to show appreciation. Well, the one choice B, line reference B, that talks about the price seems to suggest it is an expensive gift that you're buying, not an inexpensive gift. But appreciation, I don't know, that maybe is a way of bonding, so that part seems to work. But by breaking this choice down into smaller bits, I can kind of understand the line references a little bit better and kind of remember better what they said, or go back and look for that idea. Did they talk about inexpensiveness? no, they're talking about how they're buying them, and here they're talking about they're not buying something that they would not buy as much on their own or would not spend as much money to purchase. So it doesn't match. It requires the gift recipient to reciprocate. Well, it never talks about them reciprocating. And it also, that word require is very, very strong. It makes me nervous because, I don't know, there's plenty of times people have bought me gifts and I haven't given them back. So that's a personal experience, but I would also need the lines to justify this and to say that it is required that when someone gets you a gift, you give one back, and it does not say that. D, it can serve to strengthen a relationship. Well, what's another word for a relationship? A bond, right? And so it does talk about that pretty explicitly of a way to build stronger bonds, strengthen relationships. That's a good match. And so these two do fit. And so I don't think this is necessarily a hard pair to match, but I do think people get overwhelmed by this passage because they're reading too much, they're doing too much, they don't have a good process for these elimination or these evidence questions. And so what we really need to do is narrow our focus to smaller things and follow a reliable process so we're not getting lost in the density of these passages. And that's also why I like the no reading strategy, because I read less and there's less to get lost in. And here, we didn't need to read all this stuff in between these choices. Didn't matter. That wasn't being asked about, so I didn't read it, and I saved time, and I saved energy, and I prevented a headache from all that unnecessary information.